Would you dedicate 15 years of your life to someone only to be kicked out of their funeral like a total stranger? Today's story shows how grief can reveal the cruelest and greediest side of a traditional family. Brace yourself, because the ending is pure justice.
I always knew Clara's family couldn't stand me, but I never imagined they would be capable of such atrocity while her body was still warm in the hospital. The aneurysm was sudden. It took the love of my life in a matter of minutes, and I barely had time to process the pain, because the true torture began when I returned to our apartment, our home, which we bought with so much sacrifice, brick by brick. I turned the key in the lock and came face to face with her mother, Mrs. Martha, and her two brothers. They were already inside. They had used the emergency key Clara kept in the flower pot. It looked like a raid. They were opening the living room drawers, going through documents, ransacking the photo boxes. Mrs. Martha didn't even look me in the eyes. She continued holding our silverware and said with that icy voice, "My dear, we are going to need you to vacate the master bedroom today. The family will be staying here for the wake, and we need privacy." Privacy? In my own home? I tried to argue. I tried to say that I was her wife, that we had lived there for 15 years. But her brother laughed, a dry, cruel laugh, and said, "Wife? On paper, you are nothing. You are just the roommate Clara helped out of pity." That felt like a knife in my chest. They weren't there to mourn their daughter. They were there to take inventory, to loot the life we built. And I, sedated by pills and destroyed by grief, couldn't react. I just sat on the sofa and watched them dismantle my world piece by piece. The night was an endless nightmare. They acted as if I were an intruder, an invisible maid. Clara's sister started separating her designer clothes into black trash bags. "This can be sold at the thrift store. This is garbage," she said, holding the dress Clara wore on our 10th anniversary. Every piece of clothing she threw in the bag was a memory of ours being erased. And the humiliation didn't stop there. When I went to the kitchen to drink water, I heard Mrs. Martha on the phone with their lawyer. "Yes, the friend is here. No, she has no rights to anything. The apartment is in the family's name. We will change the locks as soon as the coffin leaves." My blood ran cold. They planned to put me on the street before the burial even happened. I went back to the guest room, locked the door, and hugged her pillow. The smell of her perfume was still there, and it was only there, in the dark, hearing them laugh and drink the wine from our cellar in the living room, that I understood the magnitude of their hate. They never accepted who Clara was, and now that she couldn't defend herself anymore, they were going to erase our history. They were going to turn me into a nobody, the colleague, the friend, the partner, anything but the love of her life. And I felt small, powerless against that machine of grinding people that was her family.
That is so cold-blooded. If your partner's family invaded your home and called you a roommate, would you leave quietly or call the police immediately? I want to see the controversy in the comments.
The day of the wake dawned gray and heavy. I put on my best black suit, the same one I used when Clara was promoted, and went to the chapel. But the barrier was already set up at the door. When I tried to enter the area reserved for the family, Clara's aunt put her arm in front of me, blocking my path with unnecessary force, and whispered so everyone could hear, "The family's place is in the first row. Hangers-on and friends stay from the 5th row back." I looked ahead and saw Mrs. Martha sitting in the widow's chair, receiving condolences, crying theatrical tears, occupying the place that was mine by right and by love. I had to sit at the back of the church, isolated, staring at the backs of people who despised Clara in life, now pretending they loved her in death. The priest began the sermon talking about the exemplary daughter, the dedicated sister, and not a single word about her partner, about her wife. I was deleted from the obituary. On the mass card it said, "Clara leaves behind mother and brothers," as if our 15 years were a delusion in my head. I wanted to scream. I wanted to stand up and say that I was the one who cared for her during her cancer. I was the one who paid the bills when her father went bankrupt. But my voice was stuck in my throat, suffocated by pain and injustice. Watching the coffin go down without being able to give the last kiss, without being able to place our favorite flower, was the greatest violence I have ever suffered. They stole my grief and left me only with the void. The return from the cemetery was the final blow. It started to rain, a thin, freezing rain, and when I arrived at the door of our building, the key didn't turn. The lock had been changed, exactly as Mrs. Martha had promised. The doorman, Mr. Joe, looked at me with pity and said, "Miss Marina, they left express orders. You cannot go up." I looked at the sidewalk and saw 3 cardboard boxes soaking in the rain. They were my things, my clothes, my books, the picture frame of our symbolic wedding in Paris, everything thrown in the street like garbage. Clara's brother appeared at the 3rd floor window and shouted, "The free ride is over. The house is family inheritance. The lawyer will get in touch." I was on the street, homeless, without a wife, without dignity, expelled from the home I helped pay for. I sat on the sidewalk, hugged the wet boxes, and cried. I cried out of anger. I cried out of hate. They thought they had won. They thought that because we didn't have a paper signed at the registry office 20 years ago, I was defenseless. They thought the roommate would disappear in silence, but they made a fatal mistake. They underestimated Clara's intelligence and mine. I wiped my tears, grabbed my phone, and called my lawyer. Dr. Richards, they took the bait. They changed the lock and kept everything. You can drop the bomb. I wasn't just going to get back what was mine. I was going to destroy the lives of those hypocritical people. 2 days later, we summoned everyone for the reading of the will at the office. They arrived smiling, victorious. Mrs. Martha was wearing the pearl necklace she stole from Clara's room. They sat at the table demanding the deed to the apartment. The lawyer opened the folder and said calmly, "The deceased Clara did not leave any real estate assets." The silence was absolute. "What do you mean?" screamed the mother. "The luxury apartment, the car, the jewelry." The lawyer smiled and slid the papers. The apartment belongs solely to Miss Marina, purchased before the union. The car is a lease under Miss Marina's company, and the bank accounts were joint with rights of survivorship. They went pale, but the coup de grace came on the screen. Clara left a recorded video, and there she was, beautiful, saying, "Mom, if you are watching this, it's because you tried to rob Marina. That is why I left my $2 million life insurance policy solely to my wife, and the evidence of the money embezzlement Dad did at the company is in Marina's safe. If you bother her, the police get everything." It was chaos. Mrs. Martha almost fainted. The brother started stuttering apologies. I stood up and said, "You have 1 hour to return my things and disappear, or I press send to the district attorney." They ran out like rats. I recovered my home, changed the keys, and used the money to open an NGO. They tried to erase me, but Clara's love protected me beyond life, and their shame, that is eternal.
What a well-deserved twist. Clara was a genius and protected their love until the very end. If you liked seeing this divine justice, subscribe to the channel now for more real stories. See you next time.